I'm going to keep digesting my pizza and hiding it from my cat.
Welcome to Stargazing, a Stargate gazing podcast. I'm your host, Mary.
And I'm your other host, Kathy.
And each week we review an episode of Stargate alternating between SG1 and Atlantis. Hello.
How's it going?
Good, how are you?
Okay. Yeah.
Excellent.
How's things?
About the same as last time. Daniel Jackson in The Last Crusade. It really did have a very Last Crusade feel to it, I noticed as well. Yes.
Just a bit, just a tad.
Yes. Indeed. A touch of Last Crusade.
Hint of.
Indeed.
This is intolerable!
Yeah, I don't have much going on. I'm leaving for a fiddle conference tomorrow, though, so I'm trying to get a bunch of work done today so that I don't have to do it while I'm there.
Oh, how long does that go?
4 days.
Wow.
Yes.
Where are you going?
It's in Massachusetts, so driving distance.
Nice.
Yes, but it'll be 4 days of learning new tunes, and it will be tiring but fun, and I'm excited.
All right. I have my chorus retreat this weekend as well.
Oh, nice. What do you do for that?
We just go to a different church and sing for longer. We also have a potluck, so.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, because our rehearsals are in a church, and then we just go to another church in a different town.
Excellent.
Yeah, it'll be good. I'm actually glad that, so I was having a really grouchy day. I'm so tired and really burned out, and I'm just trying to limp along to Thanksgiving break.
Boo, me too.
Yeah.
I know the feeling.
But then I rewatched this episode, which I tried to rewatch last night, but fell asleep because I'm so tired. And I was like, this is actually making my day better. So I'm going to start with that. This episode I liked and made my day better. So
excellent.
Let's start
that is
with
good.
that.
It was an enjoyable episode. I agree.
Yeah. We did that part at the beginning, but
we did.
I thought it was important to
We
share.
can elaborate later as to why we
Yes.
liked it. But yeah, it was a good episode.
Yeah.
Anything that reminds me of Indiana Jones is something that I like, which I think I have mentioned on here before when something else reminded us of Indiana Jones.
Yeah. So should we talk about it?
Yeah. What is this episode that is Indiana Jones-esque?
This is Stargate SG1, Season 10, Episode 10. Is it The Quest or just Quest? I can't remember. But
The Quest, Part
The
1.
Quest. What is your quest? There's always that as far as this goes anyway. So yeah,
It's true.
yeah. So
It's true. Would you like to start since I do not have my notes up yet?
okay, there was a recap. Adria is a thing.
Yes. It's probably about all I would have said too.
Yep. Ball is also after the Ori destroying weapon and is interested in also killing ancients.
That's about
Yeah.
it.
They go to Atlantis and they find some planet names. Yay!
Yay.
And that's about it.
It is. Yes.
Yeah.
My notes are in a different font today, and this is going to annoy the crap out of me the entire time we're recording. Just thought I'd throw that out there. I don't know why they're in a different font, but they are.
Can you not change it?
I can, but I don't know what the normal font is.
Oh, okay, fair. And then we start in Daniel's office where he is researching those planets and trying to figure out where the sangraal is. Teal'c and Mitchell come in to invite him for Szechuan, but he's busy. Teal'c asks how Daniel's research is going, which annoys Mitchell because Mitchell just wants to go eat Szechuan.
Can't really blame him, though. That sounds delicious. I could go for some about now. I'm hungry.
I actually just ate, which is another thing. I had pizza. I got pizza because I'm having a grouchy day, and I was like, let me just order pizza. And then I go and put it down and go grab something, and Blue Steel is sitting on the box because he wants the pizza. He can smell it, but he's too dumb to know it's inside where he's sitting.
Curse your sudden but inevitable betrayal.
But my pizza got mooshed.
It's a very cat thing to do.
Yes. Anyway, off topic.
This does not surprise me at all.
No. He's ridiculous. Yes, and this is where Daniel actually has a longer answer than Mitchell would like, which is when we actually see he's kind of annoyed. But Daniel explains that somehow these planets that he's been looking into, what were they? Castiana, Vagumbrae, and Sahal. Yeah. Their locations form an equilateral triangle. And if you add Camelot, it becomes a pyramid. And somehow that is crazy to them.
Yeah.
So
It's shocking.
Yes, and it
Shocking
means,
and relevant.
Indeed. It means something, Daniel's sure. He just doesn't know what.
Did it actually end up really meaning anything?
I just watched this and I'm still like,
Not because I don't remember, but just based off of what's about to happen with Vala, it doesn't seem to me like it actually does end up meaning anything.
Really matter because of what happens with Vala.
Right. Yeah.
Elsewhere on base, Vala was sleeping, but she pops up suddenly and rushes to Daniel's office. She has figured it out. She's still wearing her pajamas, which is pretty silly and funny. I enjoyed it. She says the planets are part of a puzzle. And Daniel's like, yeah, I already knew that. And she says, we've got a pyramid here. But her conclusion is that this 3-into-1 pyramid equals that the address they're looking for is a combination of all 3 of the other planet addresses. So they head over to Sam's lab, where Sam is also working. I don't know why Vala was the only one sleeping.
I was wondering the exact same thing. Why is Sam there if it's nighttime? And also, if it's nighttime, why are Sam and Daniel both still working? And how late is it now that Teal'c and Mitchell are going out for Szechuan?
Right?
If Vala is asleep.
We don't know these answers.
No.
Sam's like, all right, we're going to put these things in. We'll have the computer cross-reference against our database of gate addresses. It's probably going to come out with a lot of results because, you know.
Yeah. See, all of this is why I was like, well, then why did it matter that they were forming a pyramid?
It made no sense.
Right.
But to everyone's surprise, just one gate address. They have their place to go.
They do.
I am shocked. Shocked. Well, not that shocked.
And credits.
Credits. And then we are once again in stereotypical medieval village because for whatever reasons, even without the hagfish around, these societies have never advanced beyond Middle Ages.
They just like it so much.
I guess maybe they do. I mean, it is a fun way to dress, it seems like.
I know. I just don't like all that mud.
No, this is true.
Not a mud person.
Yeah, presumably a lot of horse shit. Although we haven't really seen any horses in this,
True.
I suppose.
Must be a king. Why? He hasn't got shit all over him.
Yeah. Anyway, Daniel says that the culture looks similar to that of what they saw on Camelot. So Mitchell thinks maybe that's a good thing. He can tell that they have already figured out that the SG, I don't know why I was going to call them the SG team, the SG1 is not from around there because obviously they're dressed completely differently and, of course, carrying their big giant weapons. So Mitchell starts asking around random people to see if anybody can give him any help, maybe some information. Daniel loudly announces that they've come to search for the sangraal. Anyone heard of it? Mitchell starts describing it, and a villager comes up and says, obviously, we all know what that is. You don't need to describe it to us, but it's weird that no one's looked for it in many, many generations, and now suddenly you are the second group of adventurers in less than a week to take up the quest. So, of course, SG1 is surprised by all of this. The second group, the villager, apparently they do know what Jaffa are on this planet, so he tells them that Jaffa passed through there 3 days ago, and they were accompanied by a man who clearly commanded their fear and respect. So, of course, SG1 assumes that that must be Ball.
Oh, Ball.
And they've got a 3-day head start. So the villager, who I might add had quite a bit of hair gel in his hair, and I thought that that's weird. This planet doesn't have really any technology, but they did go through the effort of developing hair gel so that he could have spiky hair. Just thought that was worth noting.
Spiky hair is important.
It is, yeah. But he tells them if they want to have any luck in their search, they need to go and find the Parchment of Virtues, which is in the village library. So that's where they're going to go. And he points them in the right direction. But also he does give them a warning that no one's ever returned from the quest alive. So, you know, keep an eye out. Take care of yourselves. Don't be surprised when you die.
So they go to the library.
Nerd!
They're like, all right, we got to look for this parchment. And anything related to the sangraal as well, Daniel adds. And then this old man comes in the room. Osric. He was so goofy in the way he comes in and introduces himself. I was like, what's wrong with this man?
Yeah, it was very weird. And it did remind me of some scenes from Monty Python and the Holy Grail.
Yeah.
In his weird old man acting. Like, he was an older actor, but he was overacting old, it felt to me.
It gets a little better later, but just this initial one, I'm like,
yeah.
What's your deal, bro?
Yeah.
I'm already suspicious of you.
Yeah, ultimately, he actually, as I was trying to place it as I was watching it, I was like, this seems a little similar to some Holy Grail Monty Python stuff, but you know what? It was the knight from The Last Crusade that he reminded me of. He sounded a bit like him.
Do you know the only other thing I know this actor from?
I do not, because I can't read your mind.
Because I looked it up. I think you should just start wildly guessing.
Monty Python and the Holy Grail.
It was not.
The Last Crusade.
No.
Crystal Skull.
No. It was not Indiana Jones related. Or
2001: A Space
related.
Odyssey. Jurassic Park.
Yeah, you're so close.
How about you tell me?
He was Sigmund Freud in Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure.
Oh, no way. Definitely didn't recognize him from that, although I did like that movie.
I was looking up the IMDb for this beforehand,
gotcha.
so I was like, oh, okay.
That's funny.
He didn't do much else. Like, he only had a handful of roles over the years, so I think that's what he's most well known for.
Fair.
In fact.
What you may call me cheeky.
Quality movie.
Indeed.
He introduces himself as the keeper of the village archives. When they tell him what they're looking for, he's like, yes, I already met with someone else recently about that. So again, ball. Teal'c asks what he knows of the sangraal, and he's like, what I've heard from legend. It's in a cave beyond the forest, and the journey is fraught with peril. And also, he knows who Morgan Le Fay is. These Arthurian, Camelot, Holy Grail places are way more knowledgeable than anywhere else in the galaxy about things, about their own history even.
It's true.
So he's like, Morgan Le Fay enchanted the area with a curse. He takes out a box.
Puts that box inside of another box.
He did not, but he does open and then close it.
He didn't mail it to himself and then smash it with a hammer.
You know, there are other ways in this episode for that to be destroyed.
To save on postage.
Fair.
He's telling them also that lots of people have died trying to do this quest. He's explaining how Phaedra, one woman, the cobbler's wife, went to look for their missing child, and none of them have been seen. Which, obviously, it's just the curse. They weren't even looking for the thing. Why does he think that that's related?
Yeah, that was weird.
Yeah. Inside the box is not another box or a flea. It is, in fact, a parchment left by Morgan Le Fay as a guide. And they read from it. Daniel reads that only those of true virtue may win the prize. And the sangraal shall belong to he who speaks the guardian's name. And they're like, guardian's name?
Is it Smaug?
It might be Smaug. We don't know.
True, we don't know yet.
It is guarded, he says, the guardian Osric, by a dragon. And they're like, dragon, please.
I didn't understand why they were all so skeptical, because they've seen so many different monsters and aliens at this point. And even here on Earth, we have very many dragon-like animals.
Right.
Obviously, we don't have real dragons on this planet, but we have many animals current and past that looked a lot like dragons. So why did they find it to be that big of a stretch that a dragon or dragon-like creature could have evolved elsewhere?
Yeah, I don't know, but they just scoff at this.
They do, and it made no sense to me.
No, it doesn't make any sense. Daniel continues that prudence, wisdom, charity, kindness, and faith will guide them through this perilous quest. Vala's like, got any more than that? Because that's not a lot. And he says, no, this is all that was left behind. And also, by the way, while he's putting it back in the box, and maybe after that he does put it in another box, we don't know.
Yeah.
He's like, oh yeah, and also the map. And they're like, dude, what? A map? That would be amazing. Can we see the map? And he's like, no. And it's because the other guys tried to steal it.
Stupid ball.
I know. Always ruining things for everyone else.
Seriously.
Mitchell's like, we promise we're not like him. Take our word for it, you just met us. But this guy is like, nope, I learned my lesson, nobody sees the map. Vala's like, I promise we won't steal it. And he's like, nah, not buying it.
He's already got one, you see?
And we cut to
The tavern.
the tavern.
Vala wants to steal it, of course, she says. That is the first thing that happens in that scene. Vala says we have to steal it. Sam insists, no, they're not going to steal the map, but Vala says that they can sneak there under cover of darkness, that it's fine, it'll be easy, they could just steal it. But no, everyone is adamant they're not going to steal it. Daniel maybe wants to talk to Osric and try to convince him of how virtuous their cause is. And Vala says, yeah, great. And then I will steal it while you distract him. The barkeep comes over and asks if they need anything for their final meal, which Mitchell gets upset about. No, and you're not going to scare us away by thinking we're dying. She sarcastically apologizes and says, well, I should have said your final meal before you set off then. Mitchell seems a bit placated by that. She does think, though, that she needs to maybe tell them or remind them that it's been thousands of years that adventurers have been going off in search of the sangraal and nobody has succeeded. So, don't forget about that part. But then we hear a bunch of noises outside that cuts their conversation short. Then we see some Ori walking around past the door. So that's bad.
Indeed.
They're dressed in armor. I don't think we've seen them in actual metal armor before, have we?
We might have. I feel like maybe on the ship.
Oh, yeah. I think Vala's husband might have had some.
Yeah. Yeah, that man liked some armor.
It's true. Yeah, that's true. Because he was all happy when he could actually wear armor.
And religious zealotry and murder. He likes those things, too.
He loves all those things, right? Yeah, absolutely. The soldiers are just coming in and ordering people around and throwing people around, and everybody is indignant and incensed about who the hell these people are and what right they have to be throwing stuff around and throwing people around. A villager comes running up to one of the Ori soldiers with a knife, but the soldier has a staff weapon, so that doesn't end well for that villager, unfortunately. So now it's become violent. There is one who takes the lead and tells everyone that they are soldiers of the Ori, which we already knew, but I guess the villagers didn't necessarily. And they have come here to take this village as part of their holy crusade. SG1 is just watching through the windows and the door at this point, so they haven't actually gone outside because I'm guessing they're still trying to hide from the Ori soldiers so that they're not recognized immediately.
Good call.
Yes. But an Ori soldier orders that the other soldiers go through all of the buildings and bring everybody out here. So hopefully this isn't like a huge town of thousands or like 1 million people or something, because otherwise that will take a very long time, and they really don't have that many people with them. Inside the tavern, the barkeep asks if SG1 has any idea who these people are, and Mitchell says it's a long story, but maybe we need some help. I know that you have no reason to trust us, but we could really use some help. She says, well, I haven't seen you shoot anyone yet, so you got that going for you. So great. She's going to help them to escape.
I liked the barkeep.
I did too. I thought she was pretty great.
Yeah. Then we're having an old-fashioned book burn-in. They're putting a large pile of books in the town square.
They're not quite as old-fashioned anymore as one might hope.
Yeah.
I would say.
The world is wonderful.
Everything's fine.
Everything's fine.
Everything's perfectly all right now. We're fine. We're all fine here now. Thank you. How are you?
SG1 has thrown some cloaks over their outfits so they can blend in and have a look around.
Not at all totally obvious that there is an outline of a gun under all of their cloaks.
No, not at all.
In front of their chests.
They don't look oddly large.
No.
I should tell you right now, I'm kind of hard to fit. I wear a 66 long and a 31 waist.
Apparently there are 50 Ori soldiers in the village and a dozen guarding the Stargate. So that's not great for their chances of getting out of there. Daniel confirms that is, in fact, the contents of the library they're throwing into a giant pile in the town square. Including, we see the box with the parchment they were looking at before. The parchment of virtue. And then, of course, there's a prior there to prior around. Making speeches. Oh, you've been so ignorant of the truth. You're stumbling aimlessly in the dark. And the path to fulfillment is revealed. And embrace your new faith while we burn all your shit. And then they set the pile of books on fire.
Great.
Cool. The team returns to the bar because the barkeep is cool.
Quite.
she's like, oh, you've seen these Ori before? And Teal'c says, yes, many times, all over the place. And it has not gone well for the people they've encountered across the galaxy. So the barkeep is like, are we doomed then? Sam says, no, we think they can be defeated, and that's why they're there. And Daniel says they think that's why they're there too, to destroy the only thing that could stop them. The sangraal, she realizes. Then there's a knock.
There's somebody at the door.
And it's Osric. The Ori soldiers are after him. Because, he says, they believe he can lead them to the sangraal, and you know what? I can. Daniel's like, you've got the map? And he's like, no, they burned that too. But I have a brain, and I know what the map said, so I can bring you to Merlin's treasure.
Which is the same premise from Holy Grail and also The Mummy.
Yes. Some soldiers burst in. They want the old man. SG1, though, pulls their weapons, and they all stand around. The Ori soldiers are like, we got you beat, bro. We have this place surrounded. You can't go anywhere. But the barkeep shoots one of the soldiers, so they take out the rest of the soldiers that came in the room. And they're like, uh-oh, and the barkeep ushers them away. She has a secret exit. She sends them all through. They offer to take the barkeep with them, but she's like, no, I'll be good here, and I'll blame everything on you.
She's got her crossbow.
She's got her crossbow, and she's got scapegoats. And then when she closes the thing behind him, I laughed as all she did was put a stool in front of it. And it was like, that lone stool looks like the most obvious thing in the world in front of this door. I hope she's going to do more, but we cut away before we see it.
Hopefully so.
Yeah.
Then it's some time later, and Osric is leading the team through some meadow. They're walking all in single file for reasons, which is kind of weird, but here we are.
Sand people always ride single file to hide their numbers.
And then they eventually make it to some woods, and they just keep going. It's very exciting, just watching people walking. Sometime later, they come up to a large group of people that are scattered about, and some animals too, including a bird. Everything is just frozen, though. So the bird looks especially weird, just hanging in air.
Yeah.
And they're all frozen in different positions, like someone's got their hand over their mouth, someone has their bow up, and it's quite strange. Of course, the team needs to figure out what the hell's going on here so that they aren't afflicted by whatever has trapped these people. Sam starts taking some readings. She says they're varying anomalous readings. So all kinds of strange things are happening with her scanner. It's weaker in some places and stronger in other places. She realized that they are temporal fluctuations. So it actually seems that these people are trapped in a time distortion field of some sort. There were a lot of people here, so I was wondering either how long these people have been here or why they were saying that only one team of 3 people has gone to try to find the treasure anywhere within the last, several generations, because there were definitely more than just 3 people here, and these people were not Jaffa, so...
Yeah, I don't know.
We don't get those answers. No, it was weird.
Indeed.
Yep.
I also like the people who are like, look at these people frozen. I'm just going to go for it, suckers.
Right?
Oh.
Yeah, exactly. I'm going to go check out what's going on with them, and yeah.
Oops.
Teal'c asked if they are aware of what's happening to them, and Sam says that that's doubtful. Several years might pass on this side of the field, and from their perspective, it would only be 1 or 2 seconds and just one single step. So I guess these people have been here for a really long time, but again, has it been multiple generations, as they were implying in the village? Who knows? Mitchell suggests that they go around it, but Sam says that there doesn't really seem to be an obvious edge to it. It goes on pretty far in either direction, pretty much indefinitely as far as she can tell. It does have a slight curve to it too, so she's guessing that if they actually did just follow it all the way around, that it would just lead them in a complete circle. So that might take many miles and not lead to any way through it. Sam is getting some varied readings, so she comes to the conclusion that there might actually be a path winding its way through that temporal field, a path of real time winding its way through like a maze. So they just need to be able to find it and follow it. So as Sam continues to study her readings, she says that it's unmistakable. She can definitely guide them through. So we get a little bit of a scene of the team following her one person at a time, all in a line, just following in Sam's direct footsteps.
At least the line makes sense now.
Yes, it makes much more sense in this context than it did before when they were in a field and all walking in a line. But as they've gotten a significant way into this maze, all of a sudden the sensor gives up. It turns off. So that seems bad. They no longer have their readings to help them get through this maze. Mitchell asks if she checked the batteries, and she says it's definitely not the batteries. She thinks that maybe the temporal field drained it or something like that. Vala suggests they retrace their steps to get out of there, and Sam asks, do you know the way back? But they were just walking on this kind of packed sand. So, yeah. You could literally retrace your steps, as Vala said, because you definitely would have left footprints in this sand that they're walking on.
That's a good point. And I feel like somebody there should have been like, oh, this is a maze. Maybe I should make note of the way I came. But
right. Yeah, but no, that's not what they did. Anyway, they conclude that no, they can't figure out how to get back for reasons, despite the fact that they should have left footprints behind. So Vala generally suggests that way, which guessing seems to be a bad plan in this circumstance. Sam reminds her that they need to be exact. And there's got to be some way that they can solve it, because Morgan Le Fay left clues to the whereabouts of the sangraal, and so she wouldn't have done that if it wasn't actually possible to reach it. So there's got to be some way to get through, and there's also got to be some way that you can get through it without technology specifically, because they would presumably not be assuming that whoever was coming to look for it would have the same scanner technology that they have. Daniel likens it to a trap that would be weeding out the people that Morgan Le Fay would have deemed unworthy. So definitely got to be something. Vala says that probably whatever it is would even be deceptively simple because of the lack of technology that people like Arthur and his knights would have had. And after she says deceptively simple, that makes Sam think a bit. She reaches down, grabs a rock from the ground, and throws it, and it sticks in the time dilation. She throws a rock in another direction, and it doesn't stick in anything, so she walks that way until she gets to that rock, and everybody follows her. So they just keep doing that. They just throw rocks, or Sam specifically throws rocks, and wherever a rock sticks, they avoid, and wherever the rock is able to travel and land on the ground without an issue, they head in that direction. And ultimately, they make their way through.
Woo! I really enjoyed the team reasoning their way into the solution.
Yeah.
Like, instead of it just being like the Sam show or something.
Right.
Like,
always Sam solving everying. Right.
Yeah. So
I
really
appreciated, too, that Vala actually did seem to play an integral role in helping to solve the problem. Because even though it wasn't her idea, it ended up being something that she said that gave Sam the idea. So
yeah,
we're starting to see Vala make herself useful instead of just being an annoying hanger-on, which I think is a good change for her character.
Agreed. Now that they're through that time field,
recent events have compelled me to study how humans perceive the passage of time.
They continue walking. Daniel and Osric are discussing the Ori, because Osric's like, I don't know what those are, tell me about them. And Daniel's like, they're very powerful beings. They're not gods. And their followers' faith is the source of their power. And Osric is like, but people can't win faith through intimidation and fear. Their followers must truly believe. And Daniel's like, yeah, that's because the Ori are big fat liars. And the advanced technology would appear as supernatural to less developed civilizations. He says, Merlin was not a wizard and Morgan Le Fay was not a sorceress. And Osric is like, please. Rick is like, so you understand all of these amazing feats you've seen? And Daniel says, no, but because I don't know how the trick works doesn't mean it's magic. And Osric's like, well, since you can't understand it, it must be supernatural. So they're not coming to an understanding.
Osric's got some pretty bad logic there.
He does. So Mitchell's like, well, their army just wrecked your village and pushed you into hiding, so what are you doing defending them? And he's like, I'm not defending them, I condemn the soldiers, but how could I judge the Ori? And then he says, truth is elusive to those who refuse to see with both eyes, which makes Daniel stare at him like, what's this guy doing? What's he talking about? Suspicious. But before they can follow that anymore, they hear somebody muttering to themselves in the woods.
Yes. And then they come upon a clearing, and it turns out that that person that is muttering to themselves is Bal, sitting on a wooden chest that is in the middle of this little clearing, complaining about how they abandoned me, they're gonna pay, blah, blah, blah. He's all by himself, so clearly he's talking about his Jaffa that are nowhere in sight. The team comes up on him, Bal notices them and tells them to wait, but he does not warn them in time, and so they come closer to him, and there is the yellow flash of a force field surrounding the whole team. So they're all stuck here in this clearing. Bal tells them they better make themselves comfortable because they're going to be there for a while. It seems to be a one-way passage into this clearing with no clear way out of it. And he has apparently been trapped here for 3 days without any food or water for that matter. So I guess they need to eat even though he's got a hagfish.
Well, yeah, and that made me wonder where his poop corner was.
Hopefully he dug a hole somewhere.
I hope so.
Vala asks what the chest is that he is sitting on, and he says that it's bait. He came up to investigate it, and that's when he got trapped by whatever that force field is. Sam is a little bit derisive when she says, "You've had the ancient database for months. Why did it take you so long to get here?" Bal, though, isn't going to offer up any information because he is very hungry. So Sam pulls out a power bar, and this got me to wondering if the reason that power bar almost went out of business for a while was because eventually SG1 went off the air, and so they no longer had this TV show constantly buying all their power bars.
Maybe. I don't miss power bars.
I liked them. I thought they were pretty tasty. I used to eat them a lot. They weren't really anything other than glorified candy bars. They were mostly sugar. They didn't have a lot of protein like energy bars today mostly have more protein in them. But yeah, I still thought they were tasty. Anyway, Sam goes to toss it to Bal, but apparently Bal has shitty reflexes and misses it, and Mitchell catches it instead.
Oh, I thought she did it on purpose.
I wasn't completely sure, but given how close it was to Bal's hand, I would think that if he had better reflexes, he should have been able to catch it, because it was only just barely above his hand, but not outside of his reach.
Interesting.
So even if she meant to throw it past him, I still thought that Bal should have been able to catch it.
He was too weak from hunger.
Could be. Mitchell sniffs at it, even though it's in a wrapper, and would presumably not sniff anything. So everyone's just staring at Bal, tempting him with this power bar that is just slightly out of his reach.
You want this, don't you?
And so he tells them that he possessed 2 of the 3 addresses that he needed, and so they had trouble figuring out exactly where it was that they needed to go from there, because we already know SG1 had all 3 of the names that they needed, but Bal apparently only had 2. He checked out a whole bunch of places by process of elimination. He was eventually left with 1 prospective planet, and when he tried to fly there and find it, it wasn't there. Sam asks, "What do you mean it wasn't there?" And Bal says it just wasn't where it was supposed to be. The planet was not there. He double-checked his calculations. He knows they were in the right place, but it just wasn't there. So they came to the conclusion eventually that you could only access it via the Stargate, which is what he ultimately did that got him here. So he went back to wherever and gated to this planet with a handful of Jaffa, and then became trapped as we see him. The Jaffa apparently were not trapped in the force field, and so they were supposed to go and get help, but they haven't returned yet. And I'm pretty sure that they just made a run for it and were like, sucker. And are probably living free somewhere now.
I hope so.
Yeah. Through all of this, the more information that Bal was giving them, the more of the wrapper that Mitchell was removing from the power bar. So once Bal finishes his story, Mitchell does toss it to him, and he does catch it and starts to eat it, clearly very hungry. Teal'c figures that Morgan must have rendered this planet inaccessible to ships to make sure that people like the Ori couldn't come and destroy the sangraal or the planet from orbit.
So that means the Ori soldiers all came through the gate then, huh?
They presumably did, yes.
Okay.
Yeah. I guess we didn't really see them arrive, but yeah, they must have.
Yeah.
Daniel, meanwhile, is checking out the chest on the ground. It is empty. Bal says that there is absolutely nothing there. He's had 3 days to search for a way out, 3 days to check out that chest, but there is nothing. There's no way out. Daniel, though, says that the parchment of virtues told... I don't know why I said that weird. The parchment of virtues told them that they have to rely on 5 things in order to reach the sangraal, the same 5 things Kathy listed earlier that they list about a million times in this episode: prudence, wisdom, charity, kindness, and faith. So maybe they need to interpret all of that literally?
Pwkcf.
Yes. Pwkcf. Exactly. So they've already demonstrated prudence by making their way through the maze, because recklessness is what would have brought down all those other people that were stuck in it. So what kind of thing could this trap be used to exploit? Ball thinks that it's used for maybe exploiting curiosity, but Daniel thinks, no, maybe it's greed, because charity is one of the tests. So the opposite of that would be greed. Maybe this is meant to trap greedy people. So in order to reverse that trap, they are going to have to maybe give it a thing? Try giving it a thing. Daniel puts a pen in the chest. Nothing happens, and Ball laughs at him. But Daniel talks to him like an idiot and tells him, obviously, we all are trapped. We all have to contribute something. So everybody starts taking things to put in it. Mitchell puts in his hat. Sam puts in... I think she actually puts in the thing that she was using to get readings on that's no longer working anyway. So these things apparently don't need to be particularly valuable to the person, although Osric ends up putting in a ring. And when Baal is reluctant to donate anything and insists he doesn't have anything, SG1 basically does a body search on him, and they find a very decorative dagger in his boot that he says has great sentimental value. What kind of sentimental value does a hagfish have?
Maybe he's murdered many enemies with it.
Oh, it could be. Yeah, it could be. Maybe he's thrown it into Jack so many times when he was torturing him.
That could be.
Yeah.
It's his torture knife.
Yeah, could be. But in any case, they obviously don't care that Baal wants to keep his knife. They put it in the box, they close the box, and the force field goes away. So that's great. And now Mitchell wants to kill Baal, so he pulls a gun on him. And tells him it's time to say goodbye, but Baal warns them that that would be really dumb because I know the name of the protector of the sangraal. And once again, everybody scoffs at the possibility of a dragon, but Baal insists, no, the dragon's real, and you're going to need its name. The team eventually comes to the conclusion that even if the dragon isn't real, it could be a hologram, maybe. Maybe they need a password. So there can't be any real dragon, but it's still possible that they need to know the name of whatever the supposed guardian is. And Mitchell also reminds everyone that even if it's a hologram, holograms can be dangerous. He would know.
Yes.
So for now, they're going to keep Baal with them and keep him alive. But no one is happy about it, except for Baal.
Yeah. He's pleased.
Yes, he is.
I liked that this was, I mean, Baal didn't have the information about the prudent stuff, but it just, even if he did, never in a million years would Baal be like, yes, I will give away a thing and it will set me free.
Right.
And I enjoyed that
yeah,
would just
not a thing that they would have ever thought of.
Yeah.
The Goa'uld. Any Goa'uld.
Yeah. Goa'uld.
Yeah. And also, if he really wanted to keep that dagger, he could have, like, put a boot in or something, or a
I was
sock.
thinking that, yeah, I was thinking the same thing. Are you not wearing, like, literally there's no garment on you anywhere that you can sacrifice? But yeah whatever.
Yeah.
Maybe he doesn't believe in socks and underwear.
Maybe, but he could have gotten rid of his billowing coat.
It's true, but maybe he likes to keep warm. Maybe it's chillier there than we realize.
True. And who would Baal be without a billowing coat?
I was thinking that maybe he could put the half a power bar that he had left in there, but he didn't do that either.
He did not. They walk on. Baal talks about how they're, again, the unlikeliest of allies, joined together for a common purpose. And
he's just delighted.
Yeah. And Daniel's like, no, we're not really allies, and we are not partners, and we're on this quest, and you're just here for the ride. And Osiric is like, according to the map, there's a hidden cave beneath a lone mountain, and that's where we're going to go. And we see a giant mountain. So I think that's where they're headed.
Yeah, this was like a really huge mountain, and I was very curious as to how they couldn't see it from a significant distance, but we're suddenly like, look, there's a mountain.
A really big mountain. Yep. At some point later, they get to the mountain. And they're like, oh my god, the cave entrance. Osiric is like, right here, right here.
Convenient that they happened to approach the mountain from the correct direction.
Yeah. It's almost like Osiric had a map in his head.
Almost, I guess. I
guess.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
Then Mitchell pulls his gun and raises it. And it looks like it's pointing at Ball. Mitchell's like, it's too bad you're not coming with us. And Ball's like, come on, man. And then Mitchell tells him, I wasn't talking to you. And Ball is like, oh, cool, great. I'm just going to get out of the way. Thanks. He's got his gun pointed at Osiric. And then Daniel quotes from the Book of Origin that Osiric had paraphrased earlier. The quote was, truth eludes he who does not seek it with both eyes wide. Also, though, Daniel had other clues that this guy might not be who he says he is. And that is that the ring Osiric put in the box had Ori symbols on it.
That's pretty much a dead giveaway.
Yeah, and Osiric's like, no, hold on, man. I got that from a traitor. This is wrong. So Mitchell tells him, you fucked up, drop the act. And Osiric is like, oh, it would have been so much easier if you had remained oblivious, but now it's going to be more difficult. And then it's suddenly Adria.
Surprise, motherfucker.
Yep.
Osiric was Adria all along.
That was a weird flex, but...
Yeah.
Yeah. I actually was not expecting that, and at this point in the episode, I had forgotten that she was supposed to be in it.
I was thinking about it after you were reading the descriptions last week, where one of them does include Adria. And then I started watching it, and I was like, oh, wouldn't it be nice if that weren't a spoiler? But then, Marina Baccarin's name is in the credits at the beginning. So I'm like, well, if you noticed that, then you would know anyway. But
I did not.
Yeah. So suddenly Adria. And she says it's going to be particularly difficult for Daniel. Mitchell comments, you've done something new with your eyes. And I was like, that's weird.
I thought so too, because this was the only scene that she didn't have red contacts in.
And that's what I looked up. She stopped wearing the weird contacts because they were irritating her eyes. So they just decided to do away with that.
I figured that was likely the case, but she definitely was wearing them in later scenes. So they must have actually filmed this scene after they filmed those scenes, I guess.
I'm not sure. Yeah.
Because I was like paying extra close attention for the rest of the episode to see if her eyes looked red or not. And they definitely did.
Yeah.
And I don't mean like her eyes were red as in irritated because she was wearing contacts, but like her irises looked red. She clearly had the contacts in.
So I think going forward, we will not see the contacts again.
Yes.
Mitchell says, so the troops in the village, the shootout, all of that was a setup. And she says, yep, I got tired of waiting for you to figure this shit out. So I gave you a little help. And Vala's like, oh, you gave me my dream. Adria explains that she can't do this herself because Morgan Le Fay has safeguards in place to make sure that the weapon would not fall into her hands and only into the hands of those possessing truth of spirit. And she's like, obviously that's you, former ascended Daniel. And then if you get the device, then I'll get the device and everything's going to be great for me and bad for you.
Yay.
Mitchell's like, too bad, and then shoots her, but she's got a shield, so it does nothing. She's like, you know what I'm capable of. You've seen me demonstrate my powers, so here's your choice. We work together, or I'll start killing off your team members one by one, starting with Sam.
Great.
So Daniel's like, okay, cool. All right, for now, we won't kill you. We will keep working together. I had a question, though. How much of this was a ruse?
I appreciate your ruse, ma'am.
I beg your pardon?
Your ruse, your cunning attempt to trick me.
When you're talking about the troops in the village, the shootout, all is set up.
Apparently.
Like, was the barkeep a fake? Is she in on this? What's happening?
I don't think so. Did we ever really see the barkeep interact with Osiric that directly?
Not Osiric, but she shot one of the Ori soldiers.
Yeah.
So, like, how much of this is, like, a setup? Were the Ori soldiers already there and they just, like, acted this all out? Or is it just Osiric she replaced, or what?
I think that they actually came here, but I think that they came here, like she might have just gotten there slightly before them, and they might have planned to make a more public takeover of the planet after that.
Okay. Do you think Osric was a real person and he's dead?
I was wondering that, because we don't really ever find out, because, as I said, we only ever really see him kind of near the barkeep, but we never really see anybody interacting with him, like, with a sense of recognition to prove that he is a person that they know. So, yeah, I was wondering that too.
Interesting. Yeah.
We don't really find that out.
No.
So the team and their hangers-on head into the cave. They've got some flashlights along, thankfully.
Good thing they didn't put those in a box.
Right? Yeah, that would have been dumb. Adria's just bragging about how great the Ori is doing as they're walking, and they've thwarted all efforts against them, and they crippled the fleet from Earth, and they've had so little resistance on any other worlds. Things are just going great. Everything's coming up Ori. Daniel says, well, we're optimists. You're basically full of shit. We don't care that things are looking like they're in your favor now. We're still going to beat you. Yeah. So they're just going back and forth a little bit about the weapon and how the weapon can defeat the Ori, but Adria's very skeptical that they're going to be able to get it from her once they find it and actually be able to use it. And she's very excited that once they've gotten rid of that weapon and there's no more threats to the Ori, that Vala will eventually really have no choice but to come over to the side of the Ori, and she'll be delighted to accompany her mom on her path to enlightenment.
Oh, family bonding.
Vala does not look very thrilled by that.
No.
And when Adria walks away, Vala kind of raises her gun at her and swings it around a little bit. So the team continues to head in. Sam and Mitchell are talking a little bit further behind about how either Adria's going to kill them or they're going to need to kill her. But for now, she could be fairly useful and pretty resourceful, so maybe it's a good thing to have her around, at least for the time being. They make their way into some chamber that's got a plaque on the wall with a bunch of ancient writing, and Daniel translates it to choose the way that is just and true. Vala says, great, that must mean right, because just and true is right, so let's go to the right. As she's about to head off, Daniel grabs her arm and reminds her that this was ancient that he just translated, and that the word for right in ancient is not at all the same as the directional term. So that is false logic that Val is using. So they cannot just assume that it is off to the right. They got to figure this out a little bit. And then all of a sudden, there's a little quiet sound. It seems to be a kid crying. So maybe they'll head off and see what that's all about. Adria thinks that this is a stupid waste of time. Vala thinks that it's a trap. Daniel thinks that it's a test. And Tilk and Sam were the ones that first suggested that they head off after it anyway, so they clearly are on board with going. So that is what they do. They head off in that direction. And Ball says that this seems to be a test of their stupidity. a very mixed bag of emotions and opinions on this turn of events.
And they find a kid.
They do.
Crying. He runs off, though. So they chase him.
He does.
Yeah. Adria's like, this is definitely a trap.
Your tongues can't repel flavor of that magnitude.
Daniel says, no. We are doing the right thing. We had our clues from the parchment, and that kindness is one of the virtues, so maybe if we are nice to this kid, we'll get what we want, which is the only reason to be nice to a kid.
Yes. Exactly. To get what you want.
Adria's like, well, it also mentioned wisdom, which we could be wise by not walking into a trap. But no. And then somehow this child ends up in prison.
Yep.
A giant cell door comes down and the kid's trapped now. Still crying. And they're like, don't worry, we're going to get you out of there. So SG1 moves forward to try to lift up the gate. Ball says he's tiny, tell him to squeeze through the bars. Teal'c says, assist us or I will squeeze you through these bars, which I just really enjoyed all of that.
It was very entertaining, I agree.
Daniel says, you want to come help us? And Adria's like, no, we're wasting our time. But she relents because everyone's insisting, and she heads over, and as soon as she starts to touch it, it goes up. So I guess it needed to be a group effort, just like the chest.
Yes.
And the boy is freed. But then he disappears. But then so does the wall behind him, and they have a new way to go.
Yay.
I think, right? Yeah. Yeah. Because I was looking at the IMDb for this, I did look up this kid who is just credited as child on IMDb. Yeah. And he also apparently played young Zane in an episode of Eureka, and that's all I knew. But yeah, they head on, but then find another dead end. And Adria's again like, let's get out of here. Why do they keep going forward? So why does Adria keep insisting it's all a trap and they should turn around?
Yeah, I don't know. I thought that was really weird.
Spoiler for a few minutes from now, probably, but is she just afraid something will happen to her because she doesn't have her powers?
That's my guess, because she doesn't know how to deal with not having them.
Yeah.
But it did seem weird because, as everyone else was saying, like, these are clearly tests. We're clearly heading the right way. Why would we go back?
Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah.
Ball makes sense. Ball has no interest in, like, risking himself and, you know, just generally doesn't give a shit about things.
Right.
But anyway... Daniel finds another riddle, and Vala is very excited. And this one says, I'm struck and cut, shaped and cooled, then bound by rings to release what's stored. So they think on that one for a minute. Then Mitchell gets a key. So Daniel speaks the word key in ancient, presumably, and they get to go further.
As they are proceeding, though, things start getting shaky and earthquakey, and little bits of ceiling start to fall on their heads. So that's bad. They start to hurry on in the hopes of getting away from whatever cave-in seems to be surrounding them at the moment. So when Daniel says the word clavia, which is apparently the ancient word for tunnel, they're able to proceed on and then eventually make it to another chamber. With another riddle. I shake the earth with booming thunder, fell forests, whole and homes complete. I influence ships, topple kings, sweep down swift yet remain unseen. Teal'c very quickly comes up with the answer for wind on that one. Daniel says the ancient word for wind, and once again they get a new path to continue on down and then find yet another panel while everything is continuing to shake and fall on their heads around them. Battle scarred in times of strife, resistant to... But shit, this time Daniel cannot actually read it. He says resistant to a couple times. Not that there's anything wrong with what is on the text, but he just can't actually figure out what it says. We finally found a thing that Daniel does not know how to translate from ancient to English. Somehow, though, Adria comes up with an answer anyway.
Yeah.
And says a word in ancient that we don't know the translation to because we don't get one. And the panel disappears, they have a new doorway, and all of the rumbling around them stops. So, good. So they head on into this next chamber, and they notice as they're continuing on and come around a corner that it's starting to get very warm in there, and then all of a sudden there's just a big wall of fire.
Didn't that just give you Ori vibes? I was like, how are the Ori in here?
It did. Yes, I did. I was thinking the same thing. I was like, this is a weird place for an Ori thing. I guess it's not an Ori thing, but this is very Ori.
I guess that Ori don't own fire and
I guess
walls
not.
of fire.
But yeah, I was going to say it's specifically a wall of fire, though. That's a pretty
True.
Ori thing. But yes, you're right. They don't have a monopoly on firewalls.
I guess not.
Yeah. So we don't really know how much time's passed. It's sometime later, long enough that Mitchell says that he's getting a sunburn from being in here and trying to figure out this thing. And they don't seem to be getting anywhere. There's no triggers. There's no secret passages. There's no nothing. Once again, Adria suggests that they turn around and head back. Once again, everybody tells her, no, that's not an option. But also, not only have they come too far, Sam points out that the passageways have sealed behind them, so there is literally no way back. It is yet another trap of sorts, but there's got to be a way out of it, as there has been with all of the other ones. And so Daniel is kind of talking to himself, thinking out loud, but loud enough for everybody else to hear him, talking about the thing that they read on the parchment earlier about the various virtues that somebody needs to have. While he's thinking out loud about that, Ball asks Adria why, if she's Orosai, she doesn't just use her powers to put out the flame and let them be on their way. But Adria says that her abilities don't work that way. And I thought that was a load of crap because we've definitely seen her before be able to do whatever she wants. Ball says, of course, all flash, no photo. Sam corrects him to all flesh, no substance, but Ball likes his version better.
I kind of like it too.
Yeah, me too. It was pretty amusing. Daniels is continuing to mutter away and figure out what could possibly be the solution. He says, it's the only one left, but doesn't say specifically what that is until he eventually starts explaining to the rest of the group what all of the other tests have been paired with. And the one thing that they have not tested yet is faith. So that's got to be what this is. The only virtue left is faith. So before anyone can stop him, he walks through the fire and the firewall goes away. And I thought it was weird that this was the only one that they didn't all have to prove themselves for.
That's true.
Yeah. I thought it was quite strange. Only Daniel had to walk through and then the fire just went away.
Yeah. It'd be funny if he walked through and then it didn't go away and they had to walk through, but then you could also hear Daniel screaming in pain on the other side. But they still had to.
They would walk through it if they heard him scream.
That would be a real test of their faith, wouldn't it? Maybe that's just made up. Maybe Daniel's not screaming in pain.
It's true.
I don't know. Anyway.
Yeah. But yeah, that's that. They make their way through to the next cavern.
I also enjoy any time Vala calls Teal'c muscles.
This is very amusing. I agree.
So then they're in a giant cavern. There's one narrow path going out into the middle of this cavern where there's a pedestal.
Pedestal?
A pedestal.
What's a pedestal?
With a red glowy orb in it, which is supposedly the sangraal. And they're like, cool. But Mitchell says, hold on. Then he throws a rock down and you never hear it land. So that's a big fall if anyone falls.
Quite.
Daniel volunteers to go and Adria's like, I'm going too. Ball offers to stay behind and support from a distance. Mitchell says they should all go, but Adria's like, no, me and Daniel, that's it. The rest of you weirdos can just stay back here. Daniel says that's fine. So they head across the path. There's nothing treacherous about the walkway itself, so that was good.
Aside from the fact that it's relatively narrow with no sides and a pit of despair below it, nothing treacherous at all.
Yeah, you know what I mean? It's not like it was so narrow they had to treat it like a balance beam or anything like that.
No, it wasn't that bad.
They arrive and look at the sangraal sitting there. Adria tells Daniel to take it, and Daniel's like, how about you? And Adria says she can't because of Morgan Le Fay. And Daniel's like, oh, hold on, wait, is that why you didn't use your powers? I've seen you be telekinetic before. You could have snatched the sangraal without moving, but you did not. And you also didn't kill Ball or anything else to help us along the way. You are powerless right now. She's like, no, I'm not. And Daniel's like, yeah, this makes sense. Morgan Le Fay did something to neutralize your Ori powers. And Adria's like, I withstood bullets. And he's like, yeah, that's your personal shield. Which she immediately puts her hand up to it. So you're like, yes, obviously that's a personal shield. And she is like, do you really want to test me? And he's like, yeah, I do. And then he says, never mind. They're just having a little face-off up there.
Yeah.
Daniel goes to take the sangraal, but surprise, that's a hologram. And he's like, well, not as true a spirit as you thought I was, huh, Adria? And then things get treacherous.
Yes.
There's sounds in the distance.
Listen. You smell something?
Mitchell calls to them to get out of there, so Daniel and Adria head back. But the way behind them out of this cavern has closed, so they're all trapped. And then you hear the sound of flapping wings.
Don't forget the roaring.
And some roaring. And they're like, wait, there's not a dragon? What? And then there's an actual fucking dragon.
Yeah.
And Vala's like, that looks pretty real to me. And then that's where we end.
Yeah, it breathes fire right at the camera. It's worth mentioning too. And then, that's it. End of episode.
End of episode.
With a to be continued. It's not that the team just suddenly died after they were all burned to death.
That would be a wild
Presumably.
end.
Yes, it would. End of episode, end of series.
Nothing's resolved.
That would have been bonkers. Yeah.
Yes.
So, Kathy, you already mentioned that you liked the episode. What did you like about the episode?
I did like this episode. It was a fun adventure. I liked all of the puzzle solving. I liked that it was a team effort. I liked Ball and Adria tagging along. They were entertaining. Ball's always entertaining, except for when he's evil, although sometimes he's evil and entertaining. Anyway, I liked all of that. I really enjoyed Vala's enthusiasm for the riddles, even if she was not getting them all.
And was not nearly as good at them as she claimed or thought.
Yeah. It was just a fun episode and a fun adventure, and I wish there were more of them. How about you?
I pretty much all the same reasons. It was just a fun episode to watch. I enjoyed it very much. I watched part of it before work and had to watch the rest of it after work, and I was very annoyed when I had to leave to go to work in the middle. I was like, damn it! I don't want to stop watching this episode. There have definitely been a few of the more recent episodes that I really did not like the episode, where I was like, okay, good. Well, now I've got an excuse to stop watching this now and finish it later. But for this one, I was enjoying it. And again, for pretty much all the same reasons, it was just a fun episode.
Yeah. Will the next episode be fun?
Who knows? It is Stargate Atlantis Season 3, Episode 10, The Return, Part 1. So I guess we get a two-parter over there also.
Ooh.
The Atlantis expedition must turn to an old friend for help as the Assyrians prepare to invade the city.
Oh.
Is what it says at IMDb. And then over at TVDB, the Atlantis expedition is stunned to learn that a ship full of ancients is returning to reclaim their lost city.
Oh. I think I saw a thumbnail and there's somebody fun in it, so I know that's going to happen.
I don't see that for this one, but I definitely see someone fun in the next thumbnail.
Oh, maybe I saw
for the part 2.
One, but yeah.
I don't know. That person might be in part 1 too, but IMDb and TVDB don't have him in the thumbnail for this one. It's for the next one.
We'll find out, I guess.
Yeah. Indeed.
Yeah.
Anything else?
I don't think so.
All right.
Thank you so much for listening to Stargatesing with Kathy and Mary. Our fully listener-supported program couldn't be done without you. Show your support by telling everyone you know how awesome this show is. Find us at stargatesing.space. Reach us by email, stargatesing@gmail.com. Find us on social media at Blue Sky. Get some merch, tinyurl/stargatesing. And finally, show your financial support at patreon.com/stargatesing. Thank you for traveling through the gate with us. Catch you next time on Stargatesing with Kathy and Mary.
I'm Kathy.
I'm Mary.
And you've been listening to Stargatesing. The end.
The end.
Not the digestion, the pizza.
Fair.
Yeah.
That's probably a good thing to do. Cats probably should not be eating pizza.